Hi, I'm Joe from PH Tennis, and today we're going to talk about shoes. Now, why buy a tennis shoe rather than just sticking with your running shoe or your gym shoe? Well, put simply, the tennis shoe is designed for multi-directional movement. Running shoe designed to make you go straight forward. Some gym shoes just purely for stability. Tennis shoe is going to let you move in different directions, give you the ankle support, the foot support that you need to play the game as best as you can.
So the main difference between a tennis shoe and a running shoe is going to be the grip on the sole and the mid layer. So with the mid layer, running shoes don't have one, tennis shoes do. What the mid layer offers is it's a rigid piece of material that runs through the middle of the upper and the sole of a tennis shoe, and it creates a lot of extra support and stability for your foot. So what this does is when you're stopping and starting and moving laterally and changing directions quickly on the court, going after different balls, it holds your foot in place, keeps you stable so you're not rolling your ankle, you're not falling over and injuring yourself. Another one of the main differences between tennis shoes and running shoes is going to be the cushioning. So if you've never used a tennis shoe before and you're coming over from a running shoe, the first thing you're going to notice is the cushioning. Tennis shoes are going to feel a lot stiffer, a lot flatter, and a lot harder feeling. So this is a running shoe. Obviously you can see how much this shoe flexes. That's great when you're running just forwards, but if you have to do any sort of lateral movement, you're going to lose stability and you'll probably end up rolling your ankle and hurting yourself. So to show you how a tennis shoe looks, one of these, you have to put a lot of effort to get any sort of bend going. You can see that this has a lot of stiffness in it. It's a lot more rigid. It's going to keep your foot a lot more stable, which in turn is going to help prevent injury on the court, and you're going to be able to change directions quicker and be a lot more stable as you're playing. The reason for this, as I mentioned before, is going to be the mid layer and that extra stability and rigidness so that your foot is held in place. So another thing that's great about tennis shoes in terms of stability and support is on the side here you can see this extra bit of material that's sticking out here. So that's another way of when you're stopping laterally on the side of your foot and you start to feel your ankle start to go, you do catch on that and you really do feel yourself hold on that and be able to explode off of it. Whereas with a normal kind of running shoe, they don't have that and you'll end up just rolling your ankle and falling over. All brands have it in all their tennis shoes. It is a feature that is in everything. This shoe just shows it off really obviously.
While not cushioned like a running shoe, which is very heavily cushioned to protect your joints when you're pounding that asphalt, tennis shoes do have some variety in the sort of cushioning that they have. As Sean has said, you're not going to find yourself feeling like you're floating on a cloud like you might do with running shoes, but there is some difference. If you take the two shoes that I use, for example, this one is much more cushioned, much more support, and it actually feels like my feet are sort of pointing forward as you'd feel in a running shoe a little bit. Again, not to the same extent you would get with a running shoe, but certainly more than you'd get with something like this, which is another shoe that I use, which is really, really thin, really flat, and it gives you a lot of feel on the court. But it's personal preference. It's worth trying both. There is a difference, and again, not in the same way that a running shoe is cushioned, but there's slight variance in the type of tennis shoe and the type of sole that you're going to get and the type of feel that's going to give you on a tennis court. So we have three types of tennis shoe available. The first is all court, which is suitable for all courts, whether it be hard court, indoor acrylic, artificial grass. And these are the most commonly available and offer a sort of multi-directional pattern on the sole. The second is a clay court shoe, designed for clay courts, and they've got a herringbone design throughout the shoe, all across the sole, and a thicker tread which allows for better grip on an unstable surface. These shoes are also really good on artificial grass and AstroTurf courts. I use clay court shoes on AstroTurf courts because it gives me more grip when changing direction, gives me a lot more reassurance playing on that surface. And finally, there's grass court shoes. So if you're lucky enough to be playing on a grass court, these are the shoes for you. These are sort of pimpled throughout, quite heavy tread, almost like a sort of AstroTurf football shoe boot.
the clay court shoes, great for clay, astro, or artificial grass. Wouldn't recommend them for hard courts as they provide too much grip and you'll end up hurting yourself with these ones.
How are you going to choose the right tennis shoe for you? Well, I would probably start with the court surface that you're playing on. If you're always playing on a hard court, you want a shoe that's going to best suit that surface. Similarly, if you're always playing on clay or on artificial grass, AstroTurf, choose a shoe that's going to work for that surface. And it might be that it's an all-court shoe that works with that surface. It might be, like me, that it's a clay court shoe that works on that surface for you. But choose a shoe based on the surface, and then you're talking about the comfort. Do I like that extra little bit of cushioning? Do I like this little bit of ankle support? And finally, maybe then, do I like the way the shoe looks? If you'd like to know more about shoes, you can check us out online. We've got lots of information, lots of different shoes for you to try. As always, get in touch, hit us up on Instagram, just leave a comment on YouTube and we'll see what we can do to help.